All right, it's Fantasy Football Now. We are on Fantasy Sports powered by DSP Media. I am Tito, Jeff Fidoff. Follow me on the X at Fit Happens. He is Chad Rink. Follow him on the X at Chad Ocho Rinko. FantasySports.com is the website. The app is the Fantasy Sports app for Apple and Android. Free download. Go do it. We have round-the-clock programming. Lots of great stuff. Facebook group for Fantasy Sports. Go there to interact with hosts and other fans. Chad, it is Friday night as we are doing this.
Friday night.
About 10 Eastern time. How the hell are you, my friend?
Doing well. Another $400 win yesterday on the Thursday night game.
Really?
It was it was 25. I put down 1,400. It was a parlay of, I can't remember what it was. It was on Caesars Sportsbook. It was something like it was like three guys, like Olave, Kamara, ETN, 50, all 50, like 50 yards rushing for ETN, and Kamara 50 yards for Olave, Carr for over like 225, and then the Saints kicker getting over 1.5 field goals. So it was a little bit that last drive is what did it, because Kamara ended up he was 7 short, and then he busted off like a 11-yarder. And then Olave caught one, and so that put me in. So
the news on that game, by the way, Jamal Williams comes back, doesn't do anything at all. Very small number of touches, so didn't do much. I don't know if they could get much better or not. Kamara's seriously entrenched in there. Like, that's the guy.
Yeah.
If you drafted him or traded for him at an early point in the season, he's still suspended, you're very excited about that. On the flip side of it, though, I look over at Calvin Ridley. And what another disappointing game for him. He was so up and down. I really expected big things from him this year, but Ridley, I mean, look, nice win for the Jags. And, Lawrence had an okay game, but but not due at all to Calvin Ridley.
No, outside that first game, he really hasn't done much. It seems like Christian Kirk is really the guy coming up big. Ingram really hasn't done a ton. He'll get some targets, but I don't know if he's found the end zone yet. But yeah, Kirk seems to be the guy. But it seems like they're just going to ride ETN, and so the entire passing game really has taken a hit because ETN has been so good.
Big bye week this week. We talked about on the earlier podcast, but Bengals, Cowboys, Titans, Jets, Panthers, Texans, all off. So there's a lot of players involved in that, not to mention all the injuries. I will say this, though. In a couple of my leagues I'm in, I did go out and pick up Kyler Murray, because there was a couple leagues that I had quarterback issues in. One I didn't draft. I was running for somebody else. The other one I did draft and waited too long for quarterback. And so I've been desperately trying to get a quarterback in those leagues. And so Kyler Murray back at practice now. Not sure when he's coming back, but it looks like, according to Ian Rappaport, he's going to play a lot of games this year still. So not a bad guy to stash. Like in the one league, I think my options were like Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield or something like that. This guy drafted. Terrible draft this guy did. And so I picked up Kyler Murray there and stashed him. He's still on IR, right? I think he's still technically on IR. So, but I grabbed him in a couple leagues. I'm not sure if I expect a lot out of him, but he's a lottery ticket.
Yeah, and it's a good one to take. I saw he was taking some first team reps, but Dobbs is definitely going to be playing this week. So it could be as soon as next week. And they had that late bye. They don't have a bye to week 13. So you could get them end of the season, then you have them for the playoffs. So I don't mind that at all. The big fear was early on if the Cardinals are going to tank, do they even put Murray out there? But I think even if they are tanking, it's smart just so other people can see what Murray still has left. You can use them to trade.
The good for Marquise Brown too, because Marquise Brown had a good connection with him last year when they played together before Murray got hurt. So keep an eye on that. If he's out there in your league, you've got a roster spot, which I'm sure you do. Cut that fifth running back or fifth receiver or second tight end, whatever. Do that and go pick up Kyler Brown just to see, because if you don't need him, I would pick him up and then you use him for trade bait if I can. That's the way I would look at it on that one. Other news, Latavius Murray might now be kind of a decent stash, right? In Buffalo, Damian Harris headed to IR, and James Cook's usage has gone down quite a bit. So if you look at their roster and look at, who's going to pick up the slack with Harris being out, and they don't have that much love for Cook, or if Cook gets hurt, Latavius Murray, though, is somebody who I think is an attractive option to pick up and stash.
Yeah, he got some play, especially at the goal line, even with Harris there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that Latavius Murray. I mean, he's old and not good, but it seems like Cook they're not going to give him the full workload, and Murray's going to always, I think, be the guy inside the 5, so he can get some goal line carries as well. So I do like that because the Bills, again, another team that's going to score a ton,
Right.
and probably be in the red zone. So I love that as well, that and Murray.
And even this week, it might be a decent play just because they're playing New England, who sucks at stopping the run, who sucks, period. And so if they get a lead, you might see a lot of goal line carries, a lot of opportunities for Murray against a very weak New England team.
Yeah, especially if they get up big, they got like 24-3 or something. They're not going to let Cook out there, and Murray will most likely get all the carries there in that fourth quarter. So yeah, it's a good one. Just that's the kind of stuff you got to keep an eye on. Those types of things.
Yeah.
Always be checking the waiver wire, even after
ABC. Always be checking.
You have to, and then you always got to check to see who people drop. ABC, baby, I love it. So yeah, you got to check because you never know, someone may drop somebody. Or just keeping the news too. You guys have those Twitter feeds. People like you get the notification of something happening.
Yeah,
like someone I got the notification that Roshan Johnson is going to definitely be out this week, which sucks for me in our league. But it's just one of those things that keep an eye on those types of things. But yeah, I do like Murray going forward.
To tie back to the 80s, ABC, always be checking. BBD, better be daring. ABC BBD. I'm still banging the drum for Tajay Spears too in Tennessee, and I know he's probably not available in most leagues now. I think he's going to be the guy to get going forward. The majority of the quality touches for the Titans. They're off this week. It's a great time to grab him or trade for him if you're way ahead in your league and you look at somebody who's desperate, who needs a win with a bunch of the guys on bye this week. Maybe a good opportunity to go out and try to get Tajay Spears. I'm not saying he's going to be Jonathan Taylor, Adrian Peterson. Not going to be that. But I'm just saying I think he's a valuable player to consider grabbing.
He is. They've been using him a lot more than I thought they would. And, like I said, Henry could be on the trade block too. You never know what that looks like here at the end of the month. So I do like that, just because – and this would be a great time to trade for him if you don't, need a running back or something like that. He's on bye. Like you said, a team may be desperate for somebody and get him thrown in the mix. So because I think later on in the season, especially if they are out of playoff contention, it may just be the Tajay Spears show and they just kind of shut Henry down.
Other big news for Monday night. We still, I know you said earlier in the week you don't think any of these guys are going to play, but McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, a couple of big ones. Not to mention Trent Williams, the offensive lineman for them. But let's first talk about McCaffrey. San Francisco plays Minnesota on Monday night. McCaffrey left the game to Cleveland with an oblique injury and not practicing still. Today, he was, during practice, on the side getting work done on his knee, doing some stretching, or not his knee, but doing some stretching, though, out there with the oblique and trying to get better. McCaffrey went and reportedly told Shanahan, look, plan on me playing. Plan on it. Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams, not as great a news. They're both expected to be listed as doubtful when the injury report rolls out. And so, but we'll see what happens with those two guys. But I'm more optimistic about CMC playing than I am about Samuel. And Williams being out is also a big deal for them. The CMC thing, though, it's like, God, it's such a risk, though, if you wait on that.
It is, because it could be something up through like Sunday. Yep, he's going to play. And then he gets out there, something happens.
On Monday night, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's out. I think if he's good to go, I think you have to play him. Even though I think if he's good to go, he's probably not going to get a full workload. He's probably going to be closer to, I would say, 12 to 15 touches than like 20 if he play. I would just think so, because I don't think the Vikings can hang with them, and I just think they're not gonna want to give him the full workload. And they've got Mitchell's up, they got Mason, so I think even if he plays, it's not gonna be his normal work. But you still got to play him.
When you look at it, though, Chad, it's like we're not going to know till Monday probably he's playing or not.
Right.
And so, like, if I already played Kamara, who exceeded his expectations, then I might play it safe until say, okay, I'm just going to play another running back on my team and not McCaffrey. But if it's something where you're still on the fence about it, you look at the 1 o'clock, the early games, and you have to look and see how they play out. And hopefully you've got a couple of guys you could choose other than McCaffrey after the 1 o'clock games, and you can base on how your team's doing so far. And if you've got a huge lead, you might think, okay, I can play it safe. I'll start this other guy I wasn't normally going to play at the 4 o'clock or the Sunday night game or whatever. Or if you're way behind, you say, you know what, there's no way in hell I can catch up unless McCaffrey has a McCaffrey game, so I'm going to play him. But you've got to really plan for this. I don't care if you're at one of your kids' games, a bar mitzvah, whatever you're at. You've got to keep an eye on things to make sure that that what your play is going to be for CMC.
Yeah, and which I would make sure you just put him in the flex right now, because if you could pivot and then even late, see if Brandon Powell's a guy I would look at, because I don't think anyone's got him. If for some reason last minute he's out, you can at least throw somebody in, and Brandon Powell, he's been getting some looks. That would just be something just to have last minute. But yeah, put him in your flex so that way you got a little bit more options on that.
Got the news on Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis having the season-ending surgery, which I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
And I look at it as a positive for the Colts. That they did this. They got a good look at him, and now they can sit him down the rest of the year. He can get better. If you're in a redraft league, drop him.
Yep.
If you're in a dynasty league, trade for him. If you can trade for him, especially if an IR spot, do what you can. Because I think that Richardson, though, if you find, again, another guy who's desperate, maybe you trade somebody who's got a lot of value this year, but nothing going forward. And make a move with Anthony Richardson, stash him on your bench. But yeah, if you're in a redraft league, drop his ass now. He's done for the year.
Yeah, and if you still have Chubb on your roster, drop him too. I don't think he's coming back.
Drop him, that's a good point. But, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Richardson, I think in Dynasty League, I think he showed enough that people who were nervous of him coming into this year, that he was raw, not ready. I think he kind of put those to rest. And now it's just, can he stay healthy? But yeah, I would go trade for him if in a dynasty league.
And especially IR, it's a free spot. Just take it and put him on there if you can do that. News out of your Bears: Justin Fields out. What's Bagent?
Yeah,
is that his name?
Yeah, I heard the fantasy footballers called him Bilbo Bagent.
Bilbo, that's a great one. He was playing like in the California Penal League last year or something, and backup. And now he's starting in the game for the Chicago Bears, which is amazing if you think about that.
Yeah.
Was Salem Mill College or something like that? Is that where he was at?
Shepherd.
Okay.
It was Shepherd.
Whatever. Yeah.
Like, you don't watch a lot of Shepherd games.
It's amazing. I don't have ESPN 14. Sorry, I don't.
No, I think our homeschool group played them last year.
I probably did. So he's playing now. He's going against Brian Hoyer of the Raiders, an awful quarterback matchup for both sides. I can't even form an opinion on what to expect out of Bears receivers. And we know Rashawn Johnson not playing now either.
Right.
So on the Bears side of the ball, it's quite possible Deontay Foreman's going to be the best player to start, and he sucks.
Yeah, that's just it. I think it's going to be I'm trying to pull up. I watched the Bears last week. He did not look horrible, but he was not great. I mean, he can get out and move.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be a statue back there. He made some good throws, but then he just made some awful throws. So I think he can be viable. DJ Moore had 8 targets, so he was one of the guys that he was looking for. I think he's probably going to be the only Bear receiver I would look at. Maybe Kmet just as a safety valve, but I think the Raiders defense is good enough to get pressure, though.
Right.
I just think it's going to be – I would take the Raiders minus however many. Because not that Hoyer's great, but they have Josh Jacobs,
And they've got Devontae Adams.
Right.
Who will get 17 targets after what he said this past week. I love what you said about Bagent, though, because it'd be a perfect movie poster. He wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. But it wasn't terrible. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible what you said. Right. So that's fantastic. It's a ringing endorsement from Chad and Rink right there.
Well, that exactly, and the other thing going for him is that then the backup for us is Nathan Peterman. So, and the Peterman reality tour, Peterman reality tour.
Think about what would happen to have Nathan Peterman come in. How bad would Bagent have to be for them to say, you know what? Peterman's a better option. We're going to bring him in now so he can throw 5 picks in the third quarter. So the Deshaun Watson, full participant for Cleveland, still listed as questionable. This is such a mess. He cleared a couple weeks ago and then says, I can't go. And they say, okay, we trust you. Even though the doctor said you're cleared, you said you can't play. He has the bye week, still can't play. And now I think, I don't know if you believe the show News Radio, TV show?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an episode. It's centered on a radio station. Phil Hartman was in it. Dave Foley, one of the guys in it also.
Joe Rogan, baby.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, you're right. Joe Rogan also, and Andy Dick.
Yep.
So, anyway, one of the main hosts, Catherine was her name, she was out sick, and Joe Rogan, who was like their handyman, fills in for her and sounds great. Like, he does a fantastic job, no training.
Yeah.
I can relate. Anyway, and then she comes back early, and she says, "No, I'm ready to go. I'm good." And turns out she was still sick as hell, but she couldn't stand to somebody else do the job.
Right.
That's where I'm looking at with Deshaun Watson. Like Deshaun Watson's Catherine, and he sees PJ Walker going to leave the window of the 49ers. He's like, hey, you know what? This shoulder's feeling better all of a sudden. I got to get out there and do it. I think Watson will play. I think that will motivate him to play.
I think so. I think if they would have lost, like, he still would have played. But, like, I think now he's like, I got to get back out there because I think the Browns are like, hey, if you want to sit, that's fine. We got PJ Walker. So, yeah, I think Watson's going to play. It's a good matchup. Indy's not great. So, I think I saw Kareem Hunt is questionable now, too. So I think they'll probably throw the ball a lot. So I don't mind Watson this week, assuming that he's in, which I believe he will be.
I think he'll play also. Another guy coming back. That was such a long way to get to that, the end of that.
Catherine.
My whole news radio story took forever.
News radio reference.
Right. Another 90s reference. Jahmyr Gibbs. Wait, 90s? Yeah. News radio's 90s, right?
It was 90s, yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs looks like he's going to play at Baltimore. Montgomery's out again. Dave Montgomery out for the Lions. He's going to miss a few weeks. Gibbs coming back to play is significant. I expect, look, I know Baltimore's got a tough defense, but I still think Gibbs, though, just based on the volume, is a really solid play this week.
Oh, he's huge this week because I think Reynolds, the other guy, their other running back, is questionable.
Josh Reynolds?
So, no, not Josh. As the other guy, is it Reynolds?
It's not Craig Reynolds. Yeah,
I think it's Craig Reynolds. Yeah, it's whoever the other guy. He's questionable now too. So I think it's going to be Gibbs. Like, and what's his name? Campbell came out and said like he's expecting Gibbs to get a full workload. Not that you can ever trust coaches, but I love, again, it's not a great matchup, but he's so good. I think he's probably going to get 20, 25 touches, which volume is king in the world of fantasy. So yeah, I do like him. He's kind of a sneaky play just because, the matchup's not great. And there's also better running backs in better situations, but I do like Gibbs a lot this week.
The Steelers situation, it always sucks to talk about Steelers offense, but Pat Fryermuth's out. With all the bye weeks, though, is rookie tight end Darnell Washington a decent consideration based on the bye weeks and injuries?
It depends who you have. I mean, I like him. He's not going to be a huge target guy, especially with Johnson coming back.
He's a red zone guy.
He's huge. And I think he's really good. I liked him coming out of college. So if you need somebody, like he's all probably available. So you got, I don't like him as much as guys like Luke Musgraves, just because I think they're in a better matchup and he'll get more targets, but he could fall into the end zone. And if you need somebody, or if you just happen to have one tight end and you have to pick somebody up, he's available and he's going to get the full run. So I do like him. He could quietly get you like 9 points, and that would be huge for you. Yeah,
and I grabbed Deontay Johnson a couple weeks ago. He got dropped in a lot of leagues because he was on IR, and so I picked him up and figured, hell with it, I'll stash him on my IR again. Free free spot on your team if you have it. If you have an IR spot, you grab him and just wait and see what happens. Because I still think, especially the PPR league, really mainly the PPR league, I think Johnson's got a lot of value.
Oh, he does. There's one league I'm running that I have him, and I've just kept him just because I knew he's going to come back. He was only going to miss 4 weeks, and he is a huge PPR guy, and he had a good rapport with Pickett as well. So it just kind of opens up the offense for everything. And he's always been a good receiver. So I love that. If you were able to keep him, then it's good for you, because I think again, they just had their bye last week, so he's good the rest of the season. So he could be a low end wide receiver 1 most of the rest of this year.
Because I have no stock anywhere in Rams running backs, I've not paid that close of attention to it. So you're going to be our Rams running back depth chart expert. Who is going to lead the Rams in fantasy points out of the backfield on Sunday when they host the Steelers in the 4:00 window?
Okay, so right now you have Zach Evans and rookie Zach Evans and Myles Gaskin. He's just singular, not plural.
Singular, yeah.
On the roster, they have Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson Jr. on the practice squad. I believe Darrell Henderson will get moved up to the 53-man roster, and I think he will lead all Rams running backs in touches. They've had Zach Evans all year, and he has 4 carries, and they were all last week. Right when Williams went down. And Gaskin and Freeman, they weren't even good when they were good. So like Royce Freeman, really? Like what? I think Myles Gaskin had one good game. So I think Henderson knows the offense. That's why they brought him back.
Right.
He's good at the passing game. He was great in Memphis in college. So I like him. I think he's going to lead everything. I think Evans will probably start off. Henderson will kind of come in on third down or passing situations. And I think probably by mid second quarter, it's just going to be Darrell Henderson.
I think there's a chance that Royce Freeman gets outscored in fantasy football this week by former Giants shortstop Royce Clayton. Because I think that Freeman gets out there and fumbles or loses a yard or something on a carry. And then Freeman, by not playing, catches a 0. I think there's a very good possibility that could happen.
That'd be amazing.
Because Royce Clayton is the better Royce of all the Royces I know. I can't think of another Royce. So you do it, Royce Clayton, Royce Freeman. Can you think of another one?
Sports-wise? Or just –
yeah. I can't think of another Royce.
Not offhand, no.
I think that's it.
I can't. Yeah. I think that's it, yeah.
Do you have a $1 million lineup for us yet? Are you going to work on that?
No, I'm still working. There's a lot of good things. I do have a parlay, though, if you want to hear a parlay.
Let's hear it.
All right. So it's on Bet365. It's only $10, and it's a 5-leg. Okay. It's a little bit out there, but it's if you listen to it, it's $10. If all 5 hit, it would be $332,000. It's just 5 legs.
$332,000.
Yeah,
okay.
it's not even that crazy. So leg 1, Tua Tagovailoa, 350 plus passing yards. That was at 575. They're playing Eagles on Sunday night. If you look back, like a couple guys did not have good. Like Mayfield was not good against them, but like Mac Jones threw over 300. Sam Howell threw at 290. Cousins threw 336. How can he not? Like so. Right. I'm taking him at 350 passing yards. If you went up to 375, it was like closer to like plus 900.
Oh, Jesus.
Bet365 didn't have it. They had it at Caesars or something like that.
Right.
So that's one. So that's doable. Tua throwing 350 is not like crazy.
Right.
So these next two, they have to score 2+ touchdowns. So that's always like, 2 touchdowns to scores. So one is Aaron Jones, because I think he's going to play.
Yep,
they have a good matchup
against the Broncos.
They're playing Denver, and they need him. Like Galen's been bad, so I think Aaron Jones can score 2 touchdowns. He's going to rush one, catch one. Devonta Adams scoring 2 touchdowns against the Bears. That's like the lock of
very possible.
He'll have that at halftime. Yes. So those are 3 legs.
I think he's already got one. Yeah, go ahead.
I think he just scored.
Right.
And then another one that's not too bad because they're playing the Cardinals is Kenneth Walker III 150 plus rushing yards.
Okay.
I think Charbonnet may miss in that game. I think that game's going to be a shootout. I think Seattle will be ahead, so I think they'll run it. So he needs a couple big runs. I had one like that earlier where I did a it was Breece Hall. I think it was against Denver, rushing for like over 125, and it was like a huge. I just did a single one and it hit. So Kenneth Walker, and then the last one, like Kenneth Walker 150 is like a plus 1450.
Okay.
And then the last one, which is going to be the one that'll probably do me in. So like Tua won't even need it on Sunday night, but Jalen Hyatt anytime touchdown.
Okay.
My thinking is I was watching that Giants game the last time they played, and they were looking to get him the ball. Washington may be the worst team in the league at big plays in the passing game. So I threw those five together. They're not crazy, like weird stuff. They're not like, I hate like first time touchdown scores because that's just like a fluky kind of thing. So these are all possible. So $10 to win 332. Hopefully it's going to be interesting because if the 4 hit before Tua, I'm going to be interested to see what the cash out.
What the cash out would be, you're right, yeah.
That would be it. Like, because if they come cash out at like $42,000, I think I almost have to take it for 10. As much as I'm like, Tua could throw, but you just never know. I think if it comes in, any like, 4 digit, I may have to.
Okay, hey, this just in. Tua's kind of injury prone, so you don't want to have that riding out there. Philly likes to hit the quarterback.
I know, but could you imagine like they just? It is so weird because that's such a high amount. And I don't know how they do the cash outs. Like, would they go higher because like, oh man, this is something, or would they go like 17,000? Because something. Yeah, I spent I $10 got me 17,000. I'm gonna be happy, but then I will be like bummed if Tua hits 350,
like 430 or something.
Like, I'm going to pay my house. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I think that's it's so interesting though, because I'm already thinking through my head, like, do I wait?
Right.
At like first quarter? Because if he starts coming out and he throws like 105 yards in the first quarter and a half, but then I'm like, but if he gets hurt on the first play, then it's
dead. Yeah, then they're going to say, hell with you. We're not. Then Howie Mandel calls up to the banker. It's like, sorry, nothing. We'll give you $5 on your $10 bet.
No, if it gets to the point where the cash out's like that, my wife's going to make the call.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely. Hey. Right. All right. We'll do your $1 million one either through a YouTube short or do a podcast by yourself on that. And if we see any breaking news, one of us will hop on and do something as far as injuries go. And I'm sure we'll talk again probably Sunday night, maybe Monday night. We'll do something again soon. But Chad will go out and do his $1 million thing for you to make you rich if you're not rich already after listening to this pitch he just had on his 5-leg parlay. So, Chad, great job as always, brother. Follow him on the X at Chad Ochorinco. Oops, wrong one. Follow me on the X at That Happens. FanStream Sports. Download the app. Powered by DSP Media. Chad, have a great night, brother.
You too, man.